Starting procedures, all your features up here. We'll go over doing an oil change, tightening the chain, everything you need to know about the unit. So as far as starting it up goes, of course you've got your key in the ignition. Turn that to the on position just like that. If it was left in neutral or reverse, that will show up there. Now these do have a brake safety switch on them, so you have to hold either the front brake or the rear brake when you do start it. And then a couple other things is you've got your safety tether. That's got to be on there all the way. And then from this point, if it's a cold day, you'll have to use choke, which is just your choke lever, like your lawnmower and weed whackers and stuff. So all the way in is run or no choke. All the way out is going to be like on a cold start. So I'm going to see if it'll start on full choke, and I'm going to go ahead and hold this front brake, and this is your electric start button right here. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll say, okay, so it's actually not going to be choke, and that's just like an old carbureted car. I'm going to give it a little bit of gas, then I'm going to go ahead and move it over to the no choke position. So you see how it died immediately on me? The motor's already warmed up, didn't need choke at all. Oh. So that's why I was like, okay, and then I just wanted to give it a little bit of throttle, just like you would in an old carbureted car, you pump the gas.
Okay.
So that's really it as far as getting it started. You do have your engine shutoff switch right over here, left or right will turn the unit off. However, you have to reset it by pressing it in the middle like that. If you do not, it'll crank and crank and crank and it'll never restart.
Okay.
So you've got to make sure you do that. I'm going to go ahead and start it up too, again, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the remote kill feature. So the remote kill feature looks just like this. You've got lock and unlock. The lock button will turn the unit off about 50 to 100 feet, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. So just like that. Now if I go to try to restart it, it will not restart. You have to press this unlock button.
Okay.
So like, yeah, if I go try to restart it, nothing. Press that unlock button, just like that. Starts right back up. And then as far as like switches over here, you got your light switch. One up is going to be just your rear light. That'll turn that one on. And then two up will be your headlights as well. And then right here, you also have a bright switch, so it'll actually raise those beams up just a little bit higher like you do in a car.
High beam.
Yeah, so yeah, high and low beam, yep. And then the only other thing I want to go over up here is actually you have parking brakes on your levers here. So right here, you can see that. If I press this in all the way, there's 3, there's a 2 setting, and there's 1. So 3 is going to be the best setting if you're going to be loading it. If I go try to pull this, see those front tires are locked. Okay. They do not move. So you lock the rear ones too, and this thing won't go anywhere because all the brakes are going to be locked.
Okay.
So, and then one other
when
thing.
When do I use that?
Like loading, unloading, stuff like that, like putting it in like you have a truck or something we're putting it in?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we'll lock all 3 of these, and I'll show you real quick too, because I know I just kind of slid there. And on the last one there. So now if I try to move this thing, the tires will more than likely, I can't move it.
Okay.
So that's what that's mainly for.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and release these real quick. Releasing them, just pulling that lever in. One last thing is your throttle restriction screw. It's actually right here. That restricts how much throttle there is. So right now, this is as much throttle it has. Now it's in neutral, so it won't go anywhere. That's as much throttle. That throttle normally comes to about right here. So that's all it's got.
Okay.
So you can see it. Now
that's the minimal?
Yeah, that's more. Yeah, that's like minimal. Yep. If the more you turn this out, the more throttle they're gonna have.
So how do I know how many miles per hour it's going to go with that?
It's hard to tell. You have to get on it right.
Would it be like a speed of a lawnmower?
What's up?
Would it be the same speed as lawnmower?
You can set it to any speed you want it to. You can set it where it almost never turns, almost barely moves the tires if you wanted to. As a screw though, it's hard to tell where exactly it's at. You have to get on it, ride it, and just understand that if you're going to have kids riding it, they're going to weigh less than you, so they will go faster. Not by much, but these things definitely depend on the weight,
Okay.
So that's something to keep in mind. And then that's really it as far as all your procedures and everything like that. That's really it. So I'm going to go on doing like an oil change on this unit. So as far as filling and checking the oil, it's actually your dipstick is actually right behind here. So the best way to get to this is actually take the footwell out. Excuse me. You have 8 Phillips head bolts with a 10mm nut. So you have 2 here, 3 right here, and 3 right here. And then this footwell just pops right up. And then your dipstick is right behind here. So you might be able to see it on this side here. You can see it right back there?
Yeah.
Yep, so that's where you'll fill the oil and you'll check the oil. This thing holds 24 to 26 ounces of oil.
Okay.
So you got 32 in a full quart, so you'll use almost a full quart.
Okay.
So, and if you ever forget that, Rick will actually have a brochure that he'll give you that actually says that, and right here on the side of the machine, it says it as well.
Okay.
And then as far as draining the oil, you've got your drain plug, which is right here. It's got a big washer on it. It's a 17mm drain plug.
Let me see. Figure it again?
Yep, right here. This guy right here.
Okay.
Yep, and there's a spring and a small screen that will come out with that. You just have to make sure that stuff goes right back in there.
Okay.
The spring keeps tension on the drain plug so it doesn't back out. The screen acts like an oil filter.
Okay.
And then as far as tightening the chain, your adjustment for the chain is right back here. I know it's a lot at one time, but it's not too bad. The chain you'll only have to adjust probably 3 to 5 times. You'll never have to touch it again until you buy a new chain. So as far as tightening this chain, this is, of course, is your chain right here. This is about the slack you're looking for. So about half inch of play, give or take a little bit. So that's about what you're looking for as far as in the chain.
Okay.
Now as far as tightening this, because that will stretch, as far as tightening it, you have two 13mm bolts up top with a 14 nut on each side. You loosen these guys. Once you loosen those, you've got the same setup on the bottom. So you loosen those two again. Now they have the 14 nuts on each side, so you have to loosen those as well.
Which one?
These guys right here.
Okay.
Yep, you'll loosen those guys, and like I said, they've got the nuts on each side there, so you have to loosen them.
Okay.
And then these are your chain adjustments. So I take the first nut off on each side, and they're 10mm, and then you tighten these. And what it does is it pulls your whole axle back, increasing your distance between the rear sprocket and the front sprocket up there. Now the most important thing is though, you have to keep these equal, because you're moving the entire axle. You have 2 adjustments. You know, if you did 10 turns on this side and only 5 on this side, your axle will be cockeyed.
So this is adjusting this axle.
Yep. Yeah. You're actually moving this. Yeah. You're moving your whole axle.
So this bolt, just loosen it?
Yep.
Not take it all the way out?
No, you don't have to take it all the way off, because what it's doing right now is
it's holding it.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And that's
so
same
I
thing.
see what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad once if you can understand, like get the concept of pulling it backwards. But yeah, and that's so that's really how you tighten the chain. At first, it will stretch a lot because it's never been rode or anything like that. But as you ride it more and more and more, it'll stretch less and less and less.
How do I know it's stretching?
So, when you guys are done with the break-in period, after the unit has cooled down, you go ahead and check that chain. If it is really sloppy, like if you can go back to this rear sprocket and you can almost take it off this rear sprocket, that chain's way too loose. Also, you'll hear a noise. You'll hear almost like a chain slapping noise. And that's the chain actually hitting your swing arm up there, which is perfectly normal, but it's more of a vocal indication, hey, you need to tighten the chain. That kind of thing.
Okay.
Now, last thing is actually going to be the battery location, which is right underneath here. So you've got a little lever here that pops that right up, and there's your battery.
Oh.
Yep, so it's just a real little guy.
Okay.
So,
that one, right?
Yep, that's your battery. You got your positive cable and your negative cable underneath these little rubber grommets.
Okay.
And then just putting the seat back on, pretty easy, just kind of getting it in there, and then just pushing down. I always make sure it's seated all the way, though. And then that's it. That's everything on this unit. Do you have any questions?
Notice there's air, or do we need to fill the air on this?
I'm sorry?
Do we need to put more air?
No. They're recommended at 6 psi or 7. I believe it's 6 though. They're recommended at 4 psi. So that is, your car's usually 32. Yeah, these are 4. So that's what keeps them soft and gets more traction.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I can even press them down a little bit. They're made to be like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you forget, it actually tells you right here, front and rear, 4 psi.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got that sticker right here on this guy.
Okay. All right, so you already put the fuel in there?
Yeah, I've got gas in there. Because it won't run without gas. So you need to you have to have gas in there. So you always want to check, before you ride, make sure you got enough gas in there. It's really hard to see in the tank, but there is gas in there.
Okay. How much gas does it take?
About 0.8 of a gallon. So not even a full gallon of gas.
How much does that last?
6-7 hours.
Good.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you think about it, the jet in your carburetor that sprays fuel is, this. Yeah, it's very, very minuscule. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing how little these things sip gas.
Is there an indicator that it's running out of gas?
It's not. You'll notice though. You'll start losing power. It'll start fogging a lot. You'll know. That's why I always tell you to check it before you guys go out riding.
Okay. All right.
Did you need help loading it up?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Are you parked out front?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So it's a van. It's a cargo van.
Okay.
So we have to.
Yeah, and this thing's actually really light. So it's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad. Especially with 2 people, you get on each side, lift it right up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll do that real quick.
You gonna ride it for me?
What's up?
You ride a block for me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go ahead and push it up and then close the garage door and whatnot. What's up? Oh, okay, awesome, thank you. And then I guess the only thing I didn't go over is your gear shifter. I completely forgot. So going this way, that's gonna be your forward gear. So now if I get a gas, it's gonna go forward.
Do I need to press anything to push that down?
Yeah, so you push that down, that gets it out of neutral.
But do I gotta press anything?
No,
Clutch or anything?
No, no, so nothing. That's into neutral, so now if I press the gas, nothing. Now this is into reverse. So now you go backwards.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, see, I mean, I usually hold the brake, but it's just a habit for me. You don't have to hold the brake or anything like that. You can just go ahead and pop it into gear. Main thing is you don't want to be popping in and out of gear when you're moving still, though.
Okay.
You want to make sure you're completely stopped, just like in your car, you know?
Okay.
But yeah, that's really it. So I'll go ahead and put it in gear.
He talked about tightening all the bolts with Loctite.
Yeah.
What were those?
So your main things you're going to want to Loctite are going to be your suspension and steering parts. So your shock bolts, which are, you've got your top shock bolt and your bottom shock bolt. So you've got those on both sides. You know, the best thing to do is get it almost empty on gas. And what you want to do is completely just lift this thing up like this, and it'll leak a little bit of fuel right now, like it is now. Now, if you get it almost out of gas, it won't leak any fuel, and you can hit all your suspension and steering parts a lot easier. You can hit your top A-arm, your top control arm, mounts your bottom. You can hit your tie rods easier. You can hit all that stuff while it's sitting down like this. It's just a lot harder. So if you get it, like, you know, if you guys get it home, run, you know, get the braking period done, basically almost run it out of gas, you can completely tilt it up onto the rear rack there and hit all those pieces.
Okay.
When you bring it back down, make sure you let it sit for, you know, 10-15 minutes, let all the oil get back down to the bottom of the motor though.
Okay. And what is this for? Plates?
I'm sorry?
What is this holes for?
It's
Plates?
manufacturer. I mean, it could be lights or something like that. Something if you want to mount, maybe even reflectors like on this side.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be something like that. And then, yeah, I mean, anything you see with an exposed thread, it's good to hit. It's fair game.
And then do I need to have this registered through DMV or anything?
No. You'll get a title in the mail, but that's the only kind of paperwork you would need on it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you'll get all the paperwork from here as well. But yeah, I mean, it's not street legal, so you technically can't ride it on the road. There are a lot of people that do, but technically, legally, the cops can't take it.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. If you have any other questions, you know, I mean, I know you'll go in and talk with Rick a lot, so he'll explain a lot of what I told you as well.
Okay.
But if you have any questions, you can always give us a call.
All right.